I'm joined by Michael Curry. Now you're also an administrator for the NAACP New England area, past president, spent 6 years, that's 2 terms, leaving in 2016.
3 terms.
3 terms, yeah. And now you're on the board of directors for the national branch.
Yes.
What are you most excited about conveying in this convention, like the work that has to be done?
Yeah, so we take up a lot of meaty policy issues while we're here. So I chair the board's advocacy and policy committees. We passed some resolutions yesterday at our board meeting. We will come here, delegates from all over the country will come. They've sent resolutions in. Their resolutions will come to the floor. It'll be criminal justice, education, housing, healthcare. I was looking at one resolution that'll come up during this convention around the use of K-9 units. Yes. And how K-9 units have been historically used to attack African Americans. We saw recently in the news.
That's right.
An incident of that. So we'll take up restrictions and policy around K-9 units. That's a great example of how we try to meet the moment and the times with having policy, and then we send that, once it's passed here, folks go back into local towns and communities and are asked to pass resolutions, bills, policy to advance those issues.
Historically, it's been invaluable, that sort of work in those votes. Locally, you're also the president and CEO of the League of Community Health Centers. What's hot in terms of the health equity topics and potential resolutions? So
as we come here to this convention, we know that the life expectancy for Black and many brown people are 10, 15, 20 years shorter. We know that if you're a Black woman, you're more likely to have an adverse outcome in pregnancy. You're more likely to die and have your baby die in pregnancy. We know that whether it's SUD, eyes, mental health generally, we have access issues, affordability issues, quality issues. Some 20 years after the Institute of Medicine put out the report Unequal Treatment that said doctors don't even treat us the same, we're still dealing with the truth. 80% of what drives our health status is upstream. It's not the doctor, it's not the hospital, it's not the clinic, it's the societal factors that make us sick. So really at this convention, health equity has to be a conversation about how do we now unweather ourselves from higher rates of disease, morbidity, mortality, conditions that are quite frankly killing us.
When you think about the current situation, the reeling from the Supreme Court reversal of affirmative action, what's happening in student loan debt, how can the NAACP make a difference in that?
Well, you know, part of the work that we'll do here in this conversation, resolutions that we'll take up here as well around affirmative action, and how do we engage those academic institutions, those companies? The ripple effect of this is beyond education with the Supreme Court decision. How do we start engaging people so that we don't lose ground in terms of the Black and brown folks sitting in those classrooms? Folks from Harvard have been here this week. We need those Black and brown faces to still be sitting in those classrooms in the years to come. I always remind people, Rondella, that there's a future scientist, a future mathematician that is Black, that's a young Black woman. We need her in that classroom, and not just we as African Americans need her, society needs her. We have to get beyond this thing that says, okay, affirmative action, we don't want to give people an opportunity. There's a brilliance in all of our communities, race, gender, sexual orientation, and we're not tapping that talent.
Right, having that diversity actually empowers an entire class of people who are not Black and brown also. And I think it is that part of the conversation that really needs to come out. Thank you so much, Michael Curry. So nice to have you here.
Excited to have you here.
I know, Saturday morning is rocking on.